LAWsome by Consultwebs. Breakthrough insights to build a thriving law firm with your host, Tanner Jones.
Hello to all our LAWsome listeners out there. Today on the show, I'm excited to be talking with Chris Seminatore, Managing Partner at Geofencing. As one of the leading location-based advertising companies, Geofencing empowers local businesses to retarget audiences, find prospective consumers, and to grow their brand awareness in their market. Today's topic is geofence marketing for attorneys. Welcome, Chris, and thank you for joining the show today.
Hey, thanks a lot for having me, Tanner. It's a real pleasure being here.
So let's just jump right in. I mean, this topic of geofencing, it seems like it's been talked about for many years around the legal profession, but admittedly, it's this obscure topic that no one really knows how to truly define, and really, I've found it difficult for firms to be able to speak to actual results or effectiveness from this type of effort. So I'm excited to be able to dive into this topic, but in getting started, let's start big picture here, just so that all of our listeners can get aligned on what this really is. Geofence marketing has been found to be a very powerful digital marketing tool, helping attorneys ultimately reach potential clients in very specific, very targeted geographic locations. So let's assume our audience members are a classroom of fifth graders here. Can you explain to me about this technology? What is geofencing marketing, and ultimately, what are the benefits?
One of the tools that geofencing can use is that we can put a digital parameter around a physical location and then capture the audience that attends that physical location. Now, one thing you have to keep in mind is that where people go is the strongest indicator of their buying intent. So like say if you're a car dealer and you put a geofence around competitive car dealer lots, what you're doing is you're gathering an active audience of people that are actively out looking to buy a car. The same thing can apply for attorneys. If like you're an injury attorney, one of the things you may want to geofence is hospitals, things of that nature. If you're a criminal attorney, you may want to geofence bail bonds offices or courthouses, things of that nature, because what you're doing is you're target marketing. Now, once somebody enters a geofence location, what we do is we pick up the information off their location reader on their cell phone. What that does is it allows us to go ahead and start, first we gather the audience. And then what it does is it allows us to go ahead and start serving that targeted audience ads. And we serve them about 3 to 5 ads a day. And the ads appear on just any website or application that the user or the target audience goes on. Now, the way we accomplish that, Tanner, is through programmatic marketing or programmatic distribution. And what that is whenever somebody brings up a website or an app on their phone, there's about a 100 millisecond delay. And in that 100 millisecond delay, we have algorithms that bid on the available advertising inventory on that website or app. So that allows us to go ahead and target the user. And we'll be getting 3 to 5 ads in front of them every day for up to 30 days. Does that make sense to you, Tanner? How's that sound, man?
That's good. And for the listeners, just to understand specifically, how are you evaluating the benefits from this? I suspect that, footfall traffic may be something there that you would look at, but what are other benefits? What would someone expect if they're exploring this as a marketing tool?
Well, one of the things that you can expect is that we do have artificial intelligence operating in the background. So essentially what happens there is that whenever the AI identifies a profile of someone that has a positive behavioral response, like they click on an ad, what it does is it goes throughout the actual audience and finds profiles that are similar to that and able to increase positive behavioral responses. Now, we can also set up conversion zones. Like say you have an attorney office, we can track when people that are receiving ads physically go to the attorney's office. We call that a conversion or an action. So those are just 2 different markers that we can use to gauge how a campaign is performing.
That makes sense. And obviously the tool has a lot of different techniques, even strategy can be wildly different from one practice area to the next. And clearly you've hit on a few of those advantages, like the ability to be so hyper-targeted serving ads where your potential clients are and really fishing where the fish are is what we like to say. So what are some of the best practices for attorneys looking to implement geofence marketing campaigns? Can you speak to anything that they would want to consider?
The best practices are whenever you're hitting a location for attorneys, like say a hospital or something like that, what you want to do is you want to offer value to the people because they're in a situation where they're seeking information. Basically, if somebody was involved, let's use a car accident as an example. Somebody was in a car accident and now they're at the hospital and they don't really know what their next steps are. So any way that you can value add. Start off with an ad that, A, shows that you care, B, that you have answers to the questions that they may have. And so then when they click through to the website, a good thing to collect information from the person is, 10 things to do since you've just been involved in a car accident. That way you can get their information. Now, once you have that information, you can follow up with them. So that's just one tactic that we use for attorneys specifically.
I'm curious, have you found that there are any certain practice areas that work better for this type of targeted marketing?
Man, it is all over. For criminal law, the best places are the courthouses and the jails. For injury law, the best places are hospitals. We had one client that defended people that were charged with human trafficking, and this guy really knew his business because we geofenced this truck stop out in the middle of nowhere, and then the campaign was very successful because there's a lot of people going from this truck stop out in the middle of nowhere showing up at this attorney's office. So I'm not really quite sure what was going on. This was in Texas, but it was just strange, So
That's fascinating.
The attorney probably knows the areas where his prospects are, and that was just one case in point. A lot of the different campaigns that we're running for different attorney specialties, they know exactly where their clients are going to be. Immigration law, the human trafficking was another example that kind of blew me away. Injury law, criminal law, things of that nature.
I think this is so fascinating for lawyers who are interested in trying to find some of these gaps. Market gaps is what we like to refer to them as, like weakness in competition, and finding an opportunity to be able to leverage technology like this to be very focused on reaching your prospective client. And so for our listeners, I would encourage you to really be think about your business, not just once the incident occur, whether that's a car accident if you're a personal injury law firm, whether that's the DUI or the criminal defense arrest for the criminal defense lawyers, be thinking about well before that trigger point. And are there commonalities in locations where they reside, certain zip codes? Are there commonalities in where they shop, certain products or services that they utilize? Really think about all the way from the early stages before they've even determined they need you and identify those commonalities. And I think that type of direction is ultimately going to help you be much more laser focused with this type of marketing effort. Would you agree with that concept, Chris?
Absolutely. People like to do business with people that they're familiar with. And the way that you can establish familiarity is through branding. I would highly recommend an attorney, pick out a specific area that he wants to operate out of and then hit it with targeted display. We can even run television commercials as well. That's something we can discuss further if you like, Tanner. One of the cool things about this technology is that we can pick people up, like say at a hospital, and when they get home from that hospital, we can show them television commercials on connected television. The way that we do that is that when we pick up the location reader on the cell phone, and when they take their cell phone home and they dock it in their Wi-Fi network, if they have connected television like a Sling, a Hulu, something like that, we can have them watch a television commercial about that attorney's firm. It is very powerful being seen on television. Absolutely. It definitely differentiates you from anyone else in the area as far as attorneys go.
Yeah, very helpful. So, Chris, obviously we're speaking specifically to the legal profession here, and you service other industries, but specific to the legal side, naturally there are certain ethics guidelines and codes to follow. Can you speak to how geofencing may or may not comply with legal and ethical guidelines in that respect?
Well, we're compliant with all privacy laws. Essentially what happens is that when we build that audience is built out of labels as a 247 character and number label. that goes on. So there's no names or anything like that. We do have access to the demographic information of the person, like age, homeowner, things of that nature. But as far as compliance with privacy, we're definitely compliant in all areas there. As far as the advertisements go, you can't feature anything that has any type of blood or gore or anything like that. Essentially, the best that I've seen is that when somebody glances at the ad, they identify it as a legal ad. For one, you want to have that look at that feel of a legal ad. And then you also want to make sure that when they click through that ad, that you offer something of value like we discussed before, and that you're a specialty in that law, whether it be injury, criminal, things of that nature. You definitely want to be seen as an expert in that field.
Do you know how many cases you're signing from your marketing investment each month? If you want to diagnose the status of your firm's marketing efforts, then the LAWsome podcast has a gift for you. Discover the best and the most unique legal marketing solutions available today using the Decision Making Handbook's free printable criteria. Claim your copy in the bio below. Now, let's get you back to your episode. You know, we've covered a lot about what geofencing is and what Get Geofencing offers with your company. But I think it would be helpful also to maybe speak to what it is not. What are some of the misconceptions about geofence marketing that you've heard, maybe even specific to lawyers?
Some of the misconceptions are geofencing ads are not seen on social networks like a Facebook or an Instagram or something along those lines. Those are what they call walled gardens, like Facebook, for instance. And if you want to buy advertising on a Facebook, you got to go to Facebook to do it. I would not recommend, from what I've seen, I wouldn't recommend attorneys doing social media or buying ads on social media or anything like that. From the campaigns that we ran for social media, they haven't been effective. Where the geofencing campaigns have been very effective, as far as getting in front of the people that need the service at the time. I can't emphasize how important that is as far as placement goes for an attorney, and then making it very easy for them to reach out. All they essentially have to do is click on an ad, and then it takes them straight to the attorney's website and the autofill feature on their cell phone to fill out the lead generation form, and boom. So you're making things very easy for them, which is something that's far above and beyond. I can't think of any other technology that reaches people at the time or the location that they need to be, get in front of.
That's big. Yeah. I mean, I think especially after the pandemic with consumer behavior just rapidly evolving to demanding convenience, demanding a frictionless experience. I think that's such an important component to this type of technology. Chris, I'm grateful for the time we've shared. Is there any particular question maybe that you would have wished I asked that I didn't?
No, Tanner, I really appreciated the questions. They were dead on point. Thank you so much for this opportunity. A little bit of background about myself. I became familiar with this technology. I was a Navy spook back in 1989. That's when we started using this technology. We used it for different means. Essentially, what it was used for was to locate high interest targets. So we'd go talk to them. I actually teach this stuff at UC Irvine at the hyperlocal marketing thing. And from what we've seen working with attorneys, the campaigns are very effective. I mean, they truly are. They're best paired with other campaigns, a mixed marketing strategy. One of the things that you really want to do is make sure that you're doing a Google pay-per-click campaign along with a geofencing campaign. Because what's going to happen is people are going to go to Google and they're going to Google in what they think the name is or what they saw on the ad. And then your competition's going to, if they're buying, higher than your name or whatever, they're going to click on that first ad that pops up on the Google search results. So what you want to do is you want to pair this geofencing campaign in with the Google search campaign as well, and make sure that you have a lot of a high bid on your name. Because what's going to happen is you're going to see a lot of increase in branded searches on Google for your law firm. The specialty law firms, this is great for that because we can target just about any audience that's going physically attending someplace. We can also do search campaigns as well, and we do retargeting with every campaign too. So, man, I really appreciate it, Tanner. This has been a real pleasure meeting with you.
Most certainly, Chris. For those wanting to reach out to you, what's the best way they can contact you?
Go to getgeofencing.com. That's our website, and just fill out a lead gen. I'd be love to talk to you.
Thanks again, Chris.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Tanner.
LAWsome by Consultwebs with Tanner Jones. For show notes, links, and info, go to consultwebs.com/podcast. Be sure to subscribe and leave us a review. Watch for the next LAWsome episode to discover more breakthrough insights to build a thriving law firm.